hey, Cameron, how you doing? We hear from our own NBC's Andrea Mitchell that she spoke to a senior advisor with the Kasich campaign that said that he will announce at 5 p.m. today in Columbus, Ohio, that they will suspend their campaign. And that leaves Donald Trump as the only candidate left on the Republican side who's officially in the race, which means he's the likely nominee, which means the pathway to 1237, which we had described as a glide path, is all but assured now. Not going to see a contested convention in Cleveland, barring unforeseen events. I'm out here at the Dallas Airport private air terminal, Cameron, and John Kasich was to come here at 10:45 for a media avail. He was going to have a few fundraisers here in Maryland and Virginia and the D.C. area, going to meet with some national security advisors. That's all canceled. Yeah. We're told he never got on the plane never took off. They stayed in Columbus, and they made a decision to announce the suspension of this campaign later this afternoon.
I've got 1 minute. Let's go to Hallie Jackson here. Hallie, what are you hearing? I don't know if this is a big surprise given what happened in Indiana last night and what Reince Priebus said regarding Donald Trump.
Headlines for me, Cameron, I would say not particularly surprising, although Kasich and his campaign have been insistent now for months that they would stay in this race through a contested convention to present alternatives to Republicans looking for a choice other than Donald Trump. What we expect to hear today from Kasich will likely be a speech in which he talks about party unity, in which he talks about needing to beat the Democratic nominee, likely at this point to be Hillary Clinton. We are heading to Columbus, Ohio in the next 10 minutes. We will be there for Governor Kasich's statement, and we'll talk to you then.
And part of unifying the party last night, Donald Trump, and this morning on Morning Joe, discussed wanting the support from certain individuals. He named Ben Carson. We know he has Chris Christie, and he referred to some others that he simply would not want their support. When you look at John Kasich, Hallie, in the head-to-head matchups, the polls show that he had the ability, at least in this early polling, to certainly be competitive with Hillary Clinton. For his vice president, Donald Trump has said that he wants a politician. He wants a creature of politics. What do you see as John Kasich's potential influence in Donald Trump's campaign?
I mean, listen, as recently as this week, Kasich and his campaign had been talking about had they looked better against Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump in matchups. He has dismissed talk of a vice presidential pick for Donald Trump, but that was before the race changed yesterday here in Indiana, Cameron. That is going to be a question that Kasich will face tonight in Columbus.
And when you more incendiary back and forth, there was very little between John Kasich and Donald Trump. The other 16 certainly saw the bad end of what it feels like to face off against Donald Trump. Yeah. But for John Kasich, they never tangled often.
He never got that nickname, right, Cameron? He never got the way that Ted Cruz got Lion Ted, or Hillary Clinton got Crooked Hillary, or Marco Rubio got Little Marco. Kasich never had that. That said, he has also been notably shying away. He never hit Trump back. Whenever asked about Trump, he would say, I'm not going to get dragged into this kind of a campaign. I'm going to run my positive, optimistic campaign. That was Kasich's line from the very beginning. He told me months ago he was the Prince of Light, and he was running against the darkness. That was his line, and so that is why he hasn't really hit Donald Trump, although he did begin to draw real contrast with him towards the end. And so I think we'll see that continue tonight, potentially.
What's also interesting, again, is all of this plays out in his home state. The Republican convention, National Convention, will be in Cleveland, Ohio. So whether he is, a potential VP pick, or whether he has a huge role at the convention is to be determined, but it certainly seems as if he is on track, if for nothing else, to have a huge presence at the RNC convention.
And that's what's so interesting about the two candidates who in these last 24 hours have ended or look to be ending their presidential bid. One, Ted Cruz, on the very conservative end of the spectrum. The other, John Kasich, on the much more moderate end of the spectrum. If Donald Trump is able to bring both of those rivals under his wing and under his tent, it is a potential chance for Trump to be able to say, look what I can do. Look how I can unify Republicans moving forward against the Democrats. That's still a big if at this point.
It is indeed. I know we're going to turn over things to my colleague, Andrea Mitchell, who is standing by. Andrea, since you're already mic'd up and you're here, you received the information that John Kasich would be dropping out of this race. And I think people saw the writing on the wall here.
I think everyone saw the writing on the wall, Cameron, and I spoke to a senior advisor. A lot of party leaders. I'm just on the phone now with another prominent Republican who had not yet been told, had not heard our report just now. Senior advisors saying that they realized that there was no path forward. And so John Kasich is going to announce, they've said now that the meeting that was supposed to be in D.C. and he was going to hold a news conference in D.C. will be an announcement at 5 o'clock in Ohio on his home turf that he is ending this run. And going forward, Donald Trump has big challenges, as we all know, and we'll be talking about that in the next hour.
Which will